Welcome in, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today, and hope you guys are doing well. So, today we're gonna take a look at Alphabet stock. So, the company Alphabet, or also referred to as Google, reported its quarter two 2025 earnings yesterday. So, in this video, we're gonna take a look at the stock and see how it is performing. So, specifically, we're going to do three different things. Number one, we're going to take a look at some news articles about the earnings report. Number two, we're going to take a look at the chart for Alphabet stock. And number three, we're going to take a look at some price targets for the stock. And I will give my own price target for the stock and opinion on whether the stock is a buy or not. So, some good stuff to take a look at. Before we do jump into that, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about money, sports, and personal topics with the goal of bringing value to your life. So, if you do find value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Alphabet stock. All right, let's go ahead and take a look and see what Alphabet stock is doing today. Alphabet stock is currently trading at $193.60. That's an increase of $3.37 for today, which is up almost 2%. Earlier in the day, the stock opened up around $197 and was up around 3% at that time. So it looks like the stock is having a pretty good day today, which indicates a good earnings report. So let's find some good news articles about the earnings report. All right, let's take a look at this one first. Alphabet beats earnings expectations, raises spending forecast. Key points. Alphabet reported second quarter results on Wednesday that beat on revenue and earnings. The company increased its capital expenditures forecast for 2025 to $85 billion, up $10 billion from February, due to strong and growing demand for our cloud products and services. And the company's overall revenue grew 14% year over year, higher than the 10.9% Wall Street expected. This is Google CEO Sundar Pichai. Let's take a look at the specific numbers here. Revenue came in at $96.43 billion versus $94 billion expected. Earnings per share came in at $2.31 versus $2.18 expected. So they beat on the top line and bottom line. Some other important numbers. YouTube revenue came in at $9.8 billion versus $9.56 billion. Google Cloud revenue came in at $13.62 billion versus $13.11 billion. And traffic acquisition costs came in at $14.71 billion versus $14.18 billion. All right, so it looks like the company pretty much beat on all the major metrics, which is very good to see if you're an investor. The revenue grew 14% compared to the same quarter last year. Expectation was 10.9%. The company's other bets segment brought in $373 million, up from $365 million a year ago. All right, some good stuff in this article. Let's take a look at another article here. Alphabet, Google surpasses Q2 earnings and revenue estimates. So, same information in this article here. What's next for Alphabet? While Alphabet has underperformed the market so far this year, what's next for the stock? Let's take a look at a next article. Google parent Alphabet beats revenue and earnings expectations ahead of antitrust ruling. Google parent Alphabet reported second quarter earnings that surpassed Wall Street expectations. Company cited a boost from its cloud and search business ahead of a looming antitrust ruling that could force a sale of its Chrome browser. So even though the company had a very, very good earnings report, the antitrust ruling that is being expected is still kind of a headwind for the stock, but hopefully once that clears, the stock will just continue to go up. And let's take a look at one last news article. Alphabet jumps as AI driven spending fuels cloud revenue surge. So maybe one negative part, or some people look at it as a negative, but some don't. It's the fact that they raised their capital expenditure forecast by $10 billion from 75 billion to 85 billion dollars. So that's increased costs, but that's basically money being invested into AI infrastructure. So you can look at it on the negative, but if you look at the glass half full, they're investing even more into AI. So I'll look at it as a positive. All right. So just as far as the news, just next, I want to take a look at um, Gemini AI and just get a summary of the news. Hey Gemini, can you give me a summary of Alphabet's second quarter earnings report? All right, so Alphabet announced its Q2 2025 earnings, reporting strong performance that exceeded analyst expectations. The company's results were primarily driven by robust growth in its core businesses, with AI playing a significant role. So we pretty much saw this in the other articles. So, hey Gemini, can you give me a quarterly chart of Alphabet's revenue for the last 10 years? All right, so Alphabet quarterly revenue for the last 10 years. So just looking at this chart, you can see just the consistent growth in the chart. So that's very impressive to see. The chart displays a consistent upward trend in revenue, with seasonal peaks typically occurring in the fourth quarter of each year. Hey Gemini, can you give me a chart of quarterly revenue, or actually quarterly earnings for Alphabet for the last 10 years? All right, quarterly income for the last 10 years. And you can see the chart shows a general upward trajectory in quarterly earnings with some fluctuations. So that's very good to see as well. All right, so next I will take a look at the chart for Alphabet stock. So this is the 1-day chart for Alphabet stock. Like we mentioned, the stock is up over $3 at the moment, up almost 2%. Earlier in the day, it opened up around 197, which was up around 3%. 5-day chart. Over the past 5 days, the stock has consistently gone up into the earnings report. It was in the 184 range here, got up to the low 190s, and now we're at 193. Over the last month, also the stock has consistently gone up. 1 month ago, the stock was in the 160s, and now look at this consistent growth: 170s, 180s, and now in the 190s. So that's a very impressive 1 month chart. Over 3 months, the stock was in the 150s. So in April, when we had the tariff situation and the market went down significantly, if you bought in the stock at those prices at 140s, 150s, you would have had all these gains these past 3 months. So that's very impressive to see as well over 3 months. Year to date, 1 year. So the stock was at around 207 in February here. Since then, the stock went down. But if you bought the stock in April, again, when the tariff situation was going on, you would have had all this gain since then. And looks like the stock is headed back to all-time highs around 200 like it was in February. So we'll be watching that for sure. 3 years, the stock is up 79%. It was around $100, $90, so it's doubled in 3 years. 5 years, the stock is up over 150%. It was in the 70s range, 80s, significant growth over 5 years. And the max chart, the stock is up over 7,000%. 20 years ago, the stock was around $4 or $5. Look at all this growth over the last 20 years. There's been some significant dips like here in 2022. But if you bought in, look at all this growth you would have had. We had a significant dip in April. But if you bought in April with the tariff situation, the stock has recovered very nicely and should continue to grow from here. So very impressive looking chart for Alphabet stock for all the different time frames. Next, we're going to take a look at some price targets for the stock. All right, let's check out some price targets. So on here, on the right, analyst recommendation. So based on 69 analysts, and this is as of today, they have a buy rating for the stock. Out of those 69, 44 have a strong buy, 13 have a buy, 12 have a hold, and nobody has a sell or a strong sell rating. 12-month price target is $213.21. And industry recommendation again is a buy. So the stock is at around 192, 193. So that would be a $20 increase in the next 12 months. That's what these analysts expect. All right, let's take a look at some more price targets here. Piper Sandler raises Alphabet stock price target to $220 on strong search growth. Piper Sandler has raised its target on Alphabet stock to $220 from $195 while maintaining an overweight rating following the company's second quarter earnings report. Cantor Fitzgerald raises Alphabet stock price target to $201 on solid quarter two. Cantor Fitzgerald has raised its price target on Alphabet stock to $201 from $196 while maintaining a neutral rating. Google stock soars as analysts race to raise price targets. All right, we got multiple price target adjustments here. Analysts from KeyBank Capital Markets, they raised their price target to $230 from $215. West Park Capital increased their target to $220 from $210. JMP Securities, $225 from $220. BMO Capital, $225 from $208. RBC, $220 from $200. JP Morgan raised their price target to $232 from $200. Rosenblatt Securities raised their price target from $189 to $191. So far, all the analysts have raised their price targets. Alphabet price target raised to $225 from $220 at Truist. Wedbush raises Alphabet stock price target to $225 on strong results. Alphabet price target raised to $225 from $220 at Susquehanna. Alphabet stock price target raised to $210 from $185 at Raymond James. Alphabet price target raised to $210 from $205 at Roth Capital. So all the analysts have increased their price target for the stock after this earnings report, which is very, very good news for Alphabet investors. And let's just check out Google Gemini and see if we can find some price targets on there. Hey, Gemini, can you give me the most recent price targets for Alphabet stock? Based on recent analyst reports following Alphabet's second quarter earnings, several firms have updated their price targets for the stock. Piper Sandler raised its target to $220 from $195. Cantor Fitzgerald, $201 from $196. Citi, $225 from $203. According to a broader consensus of analysts, the average price target for Alphabet stock is approximately $205 to $206. with a low of 160 to a high of 250. A significant majority of analysts maintain a strong buy or buy rating for the stock. All right, guys. So next, we're just going to wrap things up. I'm going to give a summary of what we took a look at today. I'm going to give my price target for Alphabet stock and whether the stock is a good buy or not. So we looked at Alphabet stock today. The company reported Q2 earnings yesterday. They beat on the top line on revenue and on the bottom line on earnings and pretty much all the other metrics. And as a result, the stock was up as much as 3% today. And we took a look at the chart for Alphabet stock, all the different time frames, and just how much the stock has gone up for all the different time frames. And also we looked at the price targets where all the analysts that we could see, they increased their price targets for Alphabet stock. So everybody's pretty much bullish on Alphabet stock. And overall, the company is doing very well, and the stock is as well. So just my personal price target for the stock in 12 months. So we saw the stock was at around 193. So it's basically around 200. So in 12 months, my expectation is that the stock will be, I would say, $240 to $250. I think that's very reasonable. I think their AI investments are going to continue to pay off, and I pretty much expect Alphabet to deliver very good results the next 4 quarters, the next years and decades. So I'm definitely bullish on the stock, and I think it's one of the best, stocks to buy out there. So the stock, as far as whether one should buy the stock or not, so the stock has had a significant run up the last days, weeks, and few months, as we saw in the charts. So it went from the 140s to 150s, 160s, 180s, and now it's in the 190s. So in the short term, you know, this is not the best buying opportunity relative to like these past months where you could have got it at the lower prices. But for intermediate term and long-term investors, so basically in the coming days and weeks, my expectation is that the stock will hover around this price range, around 200. But in the coming months, in the next 12 months, in the next few years, I definitely think the stock will go up significantly towards the middle 200s. So for short-term investors, maybe not the best buying opportunity. You might want to wait for the stock to dip. But for intermediate term and long-term investors, I would definitely be a buyer of the stock. And I think it's just going to continue to go up in the coming months, while expecting for it to stay in this range in the short term in the coming days and weeks. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for today. Again, if you found value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue growing and making these videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.